So the El Niño crisis that is going to be experienced by farmers sometime in August is just a culmination of a series of other events that have actually happened for the last couple of years. For the first time, Africa has been experiencing cyclones, something that has never happened in many years. And the drought events have become ever so frequent. The continent had put together an African agriculture policy called CAADP that has been in existence for over 25 years. Unfortunately, our countries have not met their commitments to this policy of allocating at least 10% of their budgets to agriculture, and they've only put in about 2 to 3%. So in essence, over the years, it means that the level of investments in agriculture by the public institutions and even private institutions has been on a decline, creating a lot of vulnerability within the farm organizations. So now with the challenge of fertilizer, again, the continent had tried to address issues of fertilizer. In 2006, we had what we call the Abuja Declaration, which looked at the possibilities of increasing use of fertilizer per hectare from less than 10 kilos to about 50 kilos. Of course, this has not been met still by the continent because, again, of cost of use of fertilizer and other, contingent cost in production. So a handful of countries have been able to achieve this. So what are we saying? What you're saying is that the challenge we face in the continent is that due to all these issues I've talked about, the continent is now importing food. I think as of the last statistics from UNCTAD and the Africa Development Bank, we are looking at over $100 billion worth of food imports into the continent. What this actually means is that if we're not able to check and mitigate the challenges of climate change, if we're not able to adapt quickly, you're not able to put in resources directly to the farmers because they're the ones who are feeding the continent, feeding the world. Agriculture is contributing so much when it comes to over 60% of employment is from agriculture. Growth of agriculture is also impacting positively to other sectors, meaning a decline in agriculture as is happening is already causing inflation. And these import bills are putting a lot of stress in public resources. I think most of over half of the countries in Africa are now undergoing debt distress. So you can see it's a phenomenal challenge. So what you're actually saying is that we need to reduce the conversations. We need to look at these resources that are being set aside. Can the promises around these resources be met by the institutions that have actually made those promises? Can we also look at the mechanisms around access to the funds to ensure that we're reducing bureaucracy? We're building pipelines that are able to ensure that farm organizations access these resources easily. I think over the many years, ourselves and Nest and other farm organizations have managed resources, huge resources from the EU, from many partners. And I think we have the capacity to be able to manage resources directly. So we are putting together this advocacy, saying, now is important that we listen to farmers. These conversations have always left out farmers because they've been mainly skewed towards environmentalists. And we are happy there has been a program since Sharm el-Sheikh, but we still don't have proper resources set aside for adaptation. And I think it's important that, based on the issues I've actually raised, that we put this conversation in the middle of the conversations going today and to the COP meeting in Turkey.
Thank you, Stephen. It's so critical that direct financing, because somehow the people who are responsible for more than half of the food